What a difference a week makes, right? Wasn't that long ago when 6 Democrats made that commercial telling our military that they have a duty to disobey illegal orders. And Trump and the Republicans and all of his MAGA supporters all got upset and were calling for them to be tried with sedition and all of this bullshit. But now look what's happening. Republican senators and Democrat senators are calling for an investigation not only into Pete Hegseth, but also into Donald Trump. Now it's come out that the House Oversight Committee is also calling for an investigation. So you have Republicans and you have Democrats in the House side looking into Pete Hegseth, the DUI hire, and Donald Trump, the orange alleged president. But yet Trump and MAGA were so upset that they went and made this video. Well, it turns out that they needed to make that video because Pete Hegseth and his so-called Department of War was giving orders for our military to leave no survivors. And in fact, in one of the boat raids, there were 2 survivors that were clinging to the wreckage that was left behind. And Hegseth apparently had ordered for them to be struck again. This is a clear violation of international law. This is a war crime, and it's good to see that both Republicans and Democrats are coming together to investigate this. It's nice to see that finally people are waking up and pushing back against this terrible administration, this failure of a presidency. Maybe the Republicans will have the balls to do what needs to be done, impeach and remove 47.
Republicans just dropped the new immigration bill, and this one targets businesses, unions, and undocumented workers all at once, in a way we have not seen before. It's called the Putting American Workers First Act, led by Senators Jim Banks and Bill Cassidy. Their pitch? Make it a federal labor violation for any businesses to hire an undocumented worker, something the National Labor Relations Board has never had jurisdiction over before. Right now, hiring violations fall under ICE. That means audits, fines, and sometimes
Another Republican Congress member just abruptly resigned. MAGA Republican Congress member Troy Nehls over the weekend announced his resignation from the House of Representatives. So that would make the 6th MAGA Republican House of Representative member to announce their resignation. Now, Nehls says he's going to serve out the remainder of his term for now. We'll see about that. But we are expecting there to be other resignations, a wave of resignations we've been talking about and we've heard are coming. And the question is, will some of these additional resignations take place before the midterms, thus switching the speakership from MAGA Mike Johnson to Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries? So here's what we learned about Troy Nehls, this MAGA Republican from Texas. He says he's not seeking re-election. He's from Richmond in Texas. He's been MAGA through and through. I mean, just take a look at the outfits that he would wear in the House of Representatives and in the Capitol building. He'd wear these weird Trump shirts that never surrender, the weird American flag bow ties. This is a real human being, folks, who is a member of Congress or was a member of Congress. He writes the following in announcing his resignation. After more than 30 years in law enforcement, serving and protecting my community as a police officer, constable, Fort Bend County Sheriff, and Army veteran, and 6 years representing this district in Congress, I have made the decision after conversations with my beautiful bride and my girls over the Thanksgiving holiday to focus on my family and return home after this Congress. Now, these MAGA Republican Congress members seem to be realizing that they will be in the minority soon and that there's about to be a blue tsunami that will wipe them out of the House of Representatives. Accountability is coming to them. Accountability is coming to this Trump regime. And we see these rats abandoning the sinking ship that is MAGA. Just a notable fact about Troy Nehls, though, by the way, is that he was fired from his position as a police officer by the Richmond Police Department in Texas on January 28th, 1998. There was a termination letter on January 28th, around that period, from Bill Whitworth, who cited 19 policy violations committed by Nehls over the prior year, including destruction of evidence after being instructed to log it as found property, improper arrest, disobeying orders, making false statements, charging personal items to the department, and failing to perform required duties. While he appealed that and claimed that it was arbitrary and capricious, the termination was upheld. Just to give you a sense of who these MAGA people are. More on Nehls in a moment, but I want to remind you of the reporting by Punchbowl News. They cover the happenings in the House of Representatives. Before Punchbowl News reported on this, the prior weekend, the Midas Touch Network was the first to report this, but Punchbowl News has excellent sourcing on the Hill, and they...
Something very strange happened last night, or really the early morning, around 4 a.m., as I had a very vivid dream where I was asking Adam Kinzinger questions as he was leaving a building, walking to his car, and I was asking him as he was getting in his car. And I asked him what he thought was going to bring the entire Trump administration down. And I expected him to say the Epstein files, but he said the Dillinger files is a good place to start. I go, the Dillinger files? I had no idea what he was talking about. I woke up and couldn't get this out of my head. It was like I was there. It was like I experienced this, even though I know it's something that really hasn't happened. But I got information through a dream. So I went and looked, searched the Dillinger files, could only find things on John Dillinger. I was like, there's got to be something to this. And so I used AI to help. And AI was able to decipher what the Dillinger files meant. And what it referred to was this individual, Hampton Dillinger. He was the former head of the Office of Special Counsel, appointed by Biden in 2024 to serve a 5-year term. And then Trump came into office and fired him illegally. Dillinger was fighting this in the courts, and he was almost prepared to take this to the Supreme Court, but an appeals court ruled that his firing could remain temporarily. So he gave up, dropped his suit, and moved on. And he's now part of a law firm where they do litigation and investigations. Now I'm wondering, what does he know? Because he was responsible for reinstating lots of employees that were illegally fired by Trump. He was eventually gone in March, but he saw everything Trump and his administration did in the very beginning with Doge, all the illegality, all the going into different departments and locking people out and taking over computer systems and everything. And he was getting all the whistleblower complaints. Those were running through his office. And he fought because he said there needed to be independence in that position that he had so people could come forward with their whistleblower complaints and feel comfortable doing that. I want to find out more. And I guess this means I'm part of the 4 a.m. club now, doesn't it? All I know is Hampton Dillinger is important, and he's going to be a crucial person in the investigations that will eventually happen. Not what I expected for this Sunday morning, but let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
Donald Trump is a baby and a bully. And when he doesn't get his way, he throws a tantrum. And right now, he's not getting his way inside his own Republican Party. They're in shock. They're resigning. They actually voted to release the Epstein files. And worst of all for Trump, they blocked his mid-decade gerrymandering scam. And that one is driving him absolutely up the wall. So much so that he decided to lash out at a child with a disability. The child of a Republican who's now about to blow up his term. We're getting into all of it. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you actually enjoy this channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it really does go a long way in supporting what we do. Now, before we get into how this Indiana Republican that Trump just attacked responded after Trump went after their child, we need to start with a Democrat from Indiana who kicked off the pushback to Trump's gerrymandering stunt. It was Pete Buttigieg. And it's the context you need before Trump's disgusting freakout.
They want this to be one of those countries where you don't even have to wait for the results to know how the vote's going to turn out. And we have a word for that. Okay, we have a lot of words for that. But the word I'm going to go with is cheating, and cheating is wrong. And I want to be abundantly clear about one thing, because they have tried to undermine our trust in the way that our neighbors run our elections in our communities. I'm not talking about changing what's inside of a machine. I'm not talking about changing a vote that went one way and making it look like it came another way. I'm talking about a form of cheating that is happening right out in the open. They're admitting it out loud, that they don't have to do that to manipulate the results of an election. When they could be in this building worrying about things like how to get the cost of living, the cost of housing, the cost of electricity, and the cost of groceries down to where it ought to be.
Democrats have been all hands on deck pushing back against Donald Trump's many attempts to rig the midterms before voters even show up. And unfortunately for Trump, fortunately for the rest of us, and entirely because of the pressure campaign we've mounted, Trump's gerrymandering schemes have blown up in his face. We watched it happen in Texas. Now Kansas and Indiana Republicans are pulling back too, suddenly discovering that the maps he wants aren't just racist, they're probably illegal and politically suicidal.
Bad news for Donald Trump. The poll numbers coming out from Gallup show everybody is running from Trump as I speak. Here's the latest. The poll was conducted November 3rd to November 25th, and I'm going to give you 9 key issues, what the public thinks, and the overall. The overall is bad. Only 36% of the American people approve of Donald Trump, while over 60% disapprove. What? Yes, over 60% of the American people disapprove of Donald Trump. He's losing his base. The Republicans, he fell 7% from 91 down to 84% of the Republicans currently support Donald Trump in the latest Gallup poll, down 7. Independents, 25%. Down 8 more percent. It was 33, it's down to 25% support him. Democrats, only 3%. I'm not sure what 3% they are, but 3% according to the Gallup poll. Here are the overall numbers. Crime, 36% approve of Donald Trump, 64% disapprove of Donald Trump. Foreign affairs, 41% approve of Donald Trump's policies, 59% disapprove of Donald Trump's policies. Foreign trade, 39% approve of Donald Trump's policies, 61% disapprove of Donald Trump's trade policies. It gets worse. Immigration, you would think this would be strong because they bet on this one. Immigration, 37% approve of Donald Trump's immigration policies, 63% of the American people disapprove of Donald Trump's immigration policies. The economy, supposed to be a businessman. Economy's tanking, Donald, in case you missed it. 36% of the American people approve, 64% of the American people disapprove of Donald Trump's economic policies. Middle East, Israel and Palestine, 33% approve of Donald Trump's policies. 67% of the American people disapprove of Donald Trump's policies between Israel and Palestine. I wonder why. The budget, 31% approve, 69% disapprove of Donald Trump increasing the budget, billions of dollars, borrowing more to give tax cuts for the rich, I guess. Ukraine, only 31% of the American people approve of his Ukrainian-Russia policy, while 69% disapprove. Probably don't like it when we're helping the Russians. What do you think? And last, health care. 30% approve, 70% disapprove of Donald Trump's health care policies. With numbers like this, who wants to be a Republican? And this is going to only help Afton Bain in Tennessee next week on Tuesday. Whether she wins or not, it's going to be very, very close. And if she does win, it will be partly because Donald Trump has not done any of the things he promised the American people, which is why the American people are leaving him here, why his numbers are so unpopular, and why he wants to try, in his mind, to start this war with Venezuela. Some of you think that's going to help him. It's not. If you actually did what you promised, it might. And wait till those Epstein files come out. Ooh, you think these numbers are bad now? Wait till then. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned light bulbs. What do you think?
This man is on the internet threatening violence against every Democrat in the United States. Take a listen.
Mr. Donald J. Trump, my president, step aside. You got so much bullshit going on with the Democrats, you got to fight every freaking day. You can't get shit done. Please, I'm begging you, let we the people take this one, sir. We will go through these cities systematically, building by building, brick by brick. And we will take these folks out permanently. You don't have to spend no money, not one penny. We'll save the American taxpayers lots of money and a damn sure pile of grief. We'll get her done, sir. You can bet your sweet ass on that.
Hey, Pops, you want to let everybody know where you're actually from, where you live right now?
I live in a little podunk town called Mobile, Alabama.
Well, you didn't put your name on the internet, and I have not been able to find you yet. But maybe the Mobile, Alabama Police Department would be interested in hearing what you have to say. I've downloaded several more of your videos. I'll make sure they see those too. Hey, internet, do your thing.
Now listen, I know the news has been so crazy lately, this whole year, that we all like to say, such and such was not on my bingo card. Well, guess what? Pete Hegseth committing war crimes was absolutely on my bingo card. Yeah, in fact, I've been saying war crimes for months, long before it even makes sense. This is something I've predicted, something I've been shown, and this could even be related to what I've been shown about the International Criminal Court intervening in some way. Now, every time I've said that and brought that prediction, I get met with a barrage of, but the U.S. isn't, but here's the thing, guys. Pretty much everything I've predicted, that has already happened so far in my Gia Just Said That playlist, if you're keeping score. Pretty much every single one of those things, when they were predicted, people came up with all the objections and reason why that's not possible. But that would never happen. And then they fucking happened. Because this is the United States in 2025, and it is batshit crazy out there, and that is our reality. Now, I don't love it. Let's be clear. I don't love it. I don't love Hegseth ordering kill them all. I don't love that we're in this situation. I don't love this on top of every other egregious act this administration has committed. I do not. I'm not glorifying in any of that shit. But what I am saying, and this is why I do Gia Just Said That in the first place. Because if Spirit has shown us things, some really far-fetched, some, bananas, batshit crazy, and some that people said there's no way, there's no possible way, and yet they're all steadily coming true, then guys, this gives us hope. This anchors us into what else we've been shown. That is much better than batshit crazy news that now we can hope for is going to come true. You know what I'm saying? So when the crazy stuff comes true, that's how we get excited that the really good, incredible stuff is also going to come true. Because listen, if you've been following me for a while, and if you've come to my What's Coming Next events, which by the way, my next one is in a few days. If you've been coming to these events, you'll know I'm not just tracking the collapse. I'm not just tracking the crimes upon crimes. I am tracking what comes next. The main thing that I've been saying all this year is that the collapse is necessary. The chaos, all of this, painful, brutal, but necessary, because this is our awakening and this is the dismantling of the old, of all that came before. Because in the space of that, because it has fallen apart, because we've been shown all of the egregious problems of our government that existed even before this administration, because we've been shown all the holes, Spirit has said, this is now where we will work to fix it first. And in fact, my September, what's coming next? The visions, what I was shown, it was clear toward the end of the event. Toward the end of the event, it was like the heavens parted, the clouds opened, and I got this downpour of what's coming next that is so beautiful, so expansive. It is all these wonderful, progressive, humanitarian first ways of running the country, ways of reorienting our society around the values that truly benefit humans first. So as painful and chaotic and egregious as all this bullshit is now, as all the fuckery is now, this is what's getting us to that next stage. Because everything has fallen apart, or all the flaws have been shown, and we're all saying collectively, no, we're not doing that anymore. This is how we finally get to make real change in our nation that was never possible before. And just on a personal note, I'll say I've had to learn this as a personal philosophy, as my life, year after year, has fallen apart so spectacularly I could never put it back together again. I've had to learn to have faith in the free fall. I've really learned firsthand that if something is falling apart, no matter how badly you are trying to hold it together, you gotta let that shit go. Because even though the letting go is painful and causes chaos and things are real dark for a minute, that is the space that the new can come into place. It could not have come into place until the surrender, until the letting go, until all the old stuff that you built your life upon is completely gone. So as brutal as it is, as hard as it is to watch this all happen, it's a good thing. It really is. If you can't go that far, that's fine. I'm not asking anyone to glorify suffering, but I'm asking you to say, now that this has fallen apart, what can now come together? What can be created anew because the old is completely gone? So that's how I'm looking at this. And it gives us an opportunity to place our order with the universe. It's all falling apart, fam. So what are we going to create in its place? What do we want? What do we desire? What do we require as a people? This is the time for all of it.